Hey, what is going on, guys? So, over the past, I don't know, week or so, I've been having a lot of issues with my alternator. It doesn't want to work and it wants to work, whatever. Well, it finally completely gave out on me. So, uh, last night, I was trying to put in my old alternator, and, I somehow broke the bracket. I broke the alternator bracket. I don't even know. Today will be our mission to make a new bracket. Everyone's telling me to go to a junkyard. I'm not gonna go to a junkyard to buy a new piece I can just make out of steel. Now, I kind of regret not really recording a whole lot. I just didn't really feel like it. Those videos were for my Snapchat. You can go ahead and add me on Snapchat, which is at elder_Dylan. And might as well follow my Instagram, which is also at elder_Dylan. But pretty much what happened was my alternator went out on me once again, but that's fine. I sent it out to Singer, and we are working on a bigger upgrade. So the very first alternator that he made for me was a 240 amp alternator, and it worked just fine. Like, it was perfect. And then it stopped working, and I was like, what's going on, So then I sent it to him. He fixes it, sends me a whole new one, and it was a 220 amp. So it was 20 amps less, but it engaged at a lower RPM, and that's what I was looking for. You know, I didn't need like a high end amperage alternator. I needed something that put out a lot at the low end. So, and you know, as you know, that as your RPMs goes up, your alternator puts out more power pretty much because it's spinning faster. So, but he said that he can work on something bigger. I'm hoping like close in the 300s, that'd be nice. Like a 320, that'd be sweet if I can get that in my car. But if not, you know, if I can't do that and I need more alternator power, I'll just build my own bracket and do like a dual alternator or a triple or whatever. I don't know. I can do whatever now. I'm not a perfect welder or a perfect. I wouldn't even say that I can't weld. I suck at welding. Not gonna lie, but I can fabricate some stuff. Like I'm not afraid to use my chop saw, use my angle grinder, use my welder. So I can just throw together a fucking bracket. Why not? You know. What's really funny is I already made my own custom bracket for my alternator because when I took out the Singer alternator, I put it in the box, and then I went to go put in my factory one, which is only 85 amps, and I put that in, and for some reason when I was trying to work it in, the alternator thing, it just broke, the bracket did. And that shit's cast aluminum. I can't weld cast aluminum. I don't know what grade it is. I don't even have a welder to do that. You know, like I don't. So pretty much what I did was I just grabbed some diamond plate steel, some scrap stuff, cut it, bent it to the shape that the old one was, and I just bolted it in the old cast aluminum spot. And then the alternator pretty much secured everything else together. So it's nice and solid now. Well, now I'm having problems with my factory alternator not wanting to put out at all at idle, like at all. And before it used to like put out at idle, you know, I would turn on my car and then it would just, like, it would work, you know, it would charge no matter what the RPM was, whatever. But now I turn on my car and then immediately it starts charging, and then my RPMs drop down because, you know, it's no longer a cold start or anything. It warms up, you know. Then it drops down to like 750 RPMs, you know, really low, below 1,000. You know, even at 1,000 RPMs, it stops charging. It starts dropping in voltage quite a bit down to like resting voltage on my batteries. And I'm afraid that my rear battery may be bad. I'm not really sure yet because or my front, I'm not really sure because it really took a while for them to charge back up, and you know, they weren't really holding a charge very well because I had a bad ground in the front of my car, and it wasn't grounding the back battery essentially because the chassis ground up front was rusted, so then none of the electricity could flow through the car. It was all just up front. And then I was playing my subs, and then I got my rear battery down to like 10 volts, and I didn't know because my voltage meter only reads the front. It doesn't read the back. So I have 2 voltage meters. I'm gonna put in the second one, and I'm gonna run the wires to the back so, you know, we can read and know how much voltage is in the rear batteries, because I don't want that to happen again. Because I mean, I seriously, it dropped down probably close to like 9 volts. And because at resting, it was resting at 10 volts. And you know, I hooked up the ground again and turned it on, and it was charging like normal and everything. And this was before my alternator went bad, so everything was working and stuff. But it didn't seem like it used to. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that I may have damaged the battery. Right now, you know, to get the alternator to start charging, the factory one, I have to be giving it gas. And what's really weird is my steering is also acting up. Like the steering pump, I've never had a problem with it. I've never, you know, my steering has just been perfect. And then I change out my alternator, and that's on the same serpentine belt. So, you know, changing out the alternator, it shouldn't do anything to the steering pump at all. It shouldn't, but it is connected, and for some reason, my steering didn't really want to work right when I turned it on, and I don't know why. It just doesn't make sense. Like, my power steering only wants to work when I'm giving it gas, and same with my alternator. So I don't know if it's just not spinning fast enough or what's going on. If I have to, I'll just put on a bigger crank pulley, you know, something with a bigger diameter so it spins faster. You know, I just don't really know what to do at this point, but I'm gonna wait back to hear from Singer because I really want this new alternator in, and it should be pretty badass. Now I want to get a new AC serpentine belt because, as you can see, that's really cracked and crappy. But my alternator one is doing real good. You know, it's like brand new pretty much. But here is my new bracket that I built out of some diamond plate steel, and then I grounded it down so it was kind of smooth and not bumpy. You know, it's holding in place. You can see where it broke right off, and I mean, everything works like it should right now. In terms of like stability, nothing's shaking or anything. It just doesn't really want to work. Now I don't know if I want to keep this X Scorpion. What is it, like a dual 1/0 lug alternator input brass thing-a-jigger. I don't know if I want to keep that or if I want to upgrade to like a toolmaker one. I mean, it's working right now, it's fine, but what I really want to do is clean up these battery terminals. As you can see, these used to be copper, but now they're like this greeny blue looking grossness, and I gotta clean off all that dirtiness, so I'm probably gonna do that soon. And I want to make a little support thing for all my fuses, because sometime in the future I'm probably gonna have more than just 2 runs going front to back. Now I just ordered 50 feet of Sky High car audio OFC 0 gauge, so that will be for my 2 runs front to back for the grounding. It is black Sky High wire. I'm not sure what side of the car I should run it on, if I should run it on the driver's side or the passenger side, but what I do know is when I do get the 50 feet in, 1 run of 0 gauge front to back is about 17 feet, and that is for the power wire. So for the rear, let's just say worst case scenario, it's 20 feet for the from here to the rear. Now that would mean that I used 40 feet for the grounds front to back, but I still have 10 feet left over. That's still enough to do quite a few grounds up front. You know, put a ground from here to the alternator. You can see where I had the ground problem. It was right there in that hole, and that was where the bolt went through, but the bolt stripped out when I first put in the big 3. I tightened it too much, and then it stripped out, so I tightened it just a little bit more, and then it tightened back up, and then like it just wiggled over time and then started rusting. And you can see where it grounded out right here on this, I think this is the cable for my hood latch. And just the whole deal was, it messed up a whole lot of stuff. Like all my gauges were freaking out because it just wasn't working correctly. It was just super weird because my speedo would like just go up and down 0 to like fucking really fast, and then my RPMs would do it, and like when I turned on my turning signal, every time it clicked, everything would just drop down to 0. So this is where I connected it. It was there, then I just moved it over to here. That is the factory ground wire, and then that is my frame ground. I just drilled a hole, and you can kind of see, I think, up inside of here where there's the bolt. There's the bolt that goes all the way through that grounds everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one.